286. Hey, it's Todd, Red River Tactical and Outdoors. Today I'm at the range and I'm going to talk to you about some Glock triggers. Up until about a month ago, I always said that a trigger is not going to improve your shooting accuracy, and you need to learn how to shoot with the factory triggers that come in your Glocks. I do believe that you still need to learn how to shoot with the factory triggers that come with your Glocks 100%, but about a month ago I was forced to put a trigger in a Glock 19 Gen 3, and I decided that I wanted to try an aftermarket trigger instead of the factory Glock trigger just to see what all the hype was about. And I have to say that I was truly impressed with the trigger that I chose. So within the last month I've been exploring different triggers, different trigger connectors and different options to see what I like the best, and I'm just going to share that with you today, what I've learned so far. First off, we're going to look at a Glock 19 Gen 4, and I'll put some close-up pictures on here, so I know you can't see real close-up right now, but if you'll look at this one, this Gen 4 has the Apex trigger kit in it, and it has the Apex trigger, but it has the Ghost Edge connector in it. What the Ghost Edge connector does, it takes the wall out when you pull the trigger. So this gun is empty, you can see that. What I'm going to show you is it has hardly any take up and just a smooth trigger press to the rear. It breaks, then it has a real good reset right there, and just that smooth break. I don't have a trigger gauge out here, but I would say that that's probably about a 3.5 pound trigger, and that's the Apex, and all it has is the Apex trigger and the Ghost Edge connector in it. That's all it has. This one is a Glock 27 with a 9mm barrel in it, and what I've done to this one is I put the Ghost Ultimate trigger connector in there, and I put just a regular Glock trigger, but it's a smooth trigger. It's not a it don't have the serrations in it. As you can see, this gun is empty also, and this is a regular Glock trigger, but it's a smooth face. It don't have those ripples in it, and this trigger is really nice too. Like I said, all I've done to it is put the Ghost Ultimate connector in it. So you can see it's got you hit that wall, then there's the break, and then the reset is real positive on that. And that's probably, I don't think that reduced any weight. It just took the grit and the over travel and a lot of the pre-travel out of that trigger. So now I'm going to get to what I think is the best option that I've come across, and this is, the trigger is a Suarez International straight flat trigger. This is the most comfortable trigger that I've come across. See, that gun's empty, so it has hardly any take up, very smooth break, very short reset. That's the shortest reset of any of them right there. It's very smooth, and I found that to be the most accurate. Now what I've done with this one, including the Suarez trigger, I've put the it's got the Apex connector in it, and it has, let me take it apart, it has the Apex striker safety plunger there and the reduced tension spring in it. So it has that, and then it has, you can't see it unless I take the gun completely apart, but it has a 6-pound trigger spring And what that 6-pound trigger spring does is it reduces the pre-travel of the trigger. So the take-up, it reduces the take-up of the trigger. So very minimal take-up. Then you got the brake, and then again the very, very short reset. So this is the best that I've come up with right now. That Suarez trigger is really nice. I like that. So check out that Suarez trigger. I like it better than the Apex, although the Apex is super nice. The Apex is a smooth, flat face trigger, but it's still curved like the Glock trigger is. But it's got a wide face on it, a very wide face, and smooth. Now what I do like about the Apex and the Suarez is this safety on the trigger. It goes inside to give you a flush feel when you're pulling the trigger, to where the Glock trigger does not. So you still got that bump there. So out of all these endeavors, what I've done, I've tried to mix and match and come up with what I think is the perfect trigger. And so far to now, I have to say that this Suarez, I would say the Suarez trigger, the Ghost Edge connector is the best connector that I've come up with, and reducing that polish, which all of them has the polished Gen 3 trigger bars. Even on the Gen 4, I put the polished Gen 3 trigger bars that come with the triggers in there. That 6-pound spring, some triggers you're going to have problems with the trigger safety resetting, because that spring is so heavy it don't let it go all the way out. That reduces the pre-travel. With the Suarez trigger, it works great. It does not work good with the factory Glock triggers and the Apex triggers. It will not let that safety plunger reset on the trigger if you use that 6-pound spring. So be very cautious of that. Even though you want to improve your trigger, but you don't want to take any safeties out of the equation. So be cautious of that. Now, one kit that I ordered come with reduced striker springs, reduced weight striker springs, and I tried those and I got light strikes. So I put the factory striker spring back in. Really couldn't tell no difference in it. So I'd stay away from those reduced weight striker springs. You really can't tell any difference in the trigger pull with those to amount to anything, and plus it'll give you light strikes, so it'll give you malfunctions that you don't want. So like I said, as far as the triggers that I've tried, the Suarez International is the best trigger that I've found so far. I did try the Zelv at the NRA show. I like the Zelv triggers. Zelv was very comparable to the Apex, but I still like the Suarez better. Just for the feel of it, being that straight trigger, and the feel of it is awesome. I'll put some shooting on this video also with all 3 of these guns and show you the accuracy on them. The accuracy is good on them. The sights that I have on them, I have the Ken Hackathorn sights on this Glock 19. I have the IDOT Pros on this Glock 19, and then I have the Ameriglow fiber optic on this Glock 27 here. So that's it. I mean, so far I'll do updates later on down the road. I plan on getting another trigger for my Glock 17. Probably going to go with the Suarez trigger, but I might change up something different on the internals to see if I can get something different out of it. So I'll keep you updated on that. Again, Apex is great. I like that trigger. I am going to change this Glock trigger out for Suarez also, probably on the 27. So that's about all I got to say. Again, when you buy the Glock, get used to that factory trigger and working it, and then when you drop one of these in, you're going to be able to tell a tremendous amount of difference, and yes, it will improve your shooting and your accuracy. So I hope you found this video informative. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'll do later, like I said, I'll do later updates on the Glock triggers. So this is Todd, Red River Tactical and Outdoors, reminding you to be safe and always be ready. That was a 296. .242. .295. .306.